thermal hay cooker.
Yeah.
So you start your meal in that.
Yeah.
Cook it in there on the hob. When it's simmering, lift it up, put your rice in there or pasta, shut the lid, leave it for 3 or 4 hours, and then it's cooked.
Brilliant.
So you use no power. Dry. And these are these brilliant, these little egg box stowages. 18 eggs per box.
Induction. So we try and use as much electric as possible and not much gas. Yeah, purely just because it's safer, and then we don't have to carry the gas with us as well. And we've got solar panels, so it all works out a lot.
Go on.
Pick your legs out. It does everything, so I could literally, when it was just me and Rich on board, I'd be feeding Roo and making a paella at the same time. You just chuck ingredients in, it kind of blends it and cooks it all.
It's pretty amazing, yeah. You can sort of move away from the like suddenly you've
soup,
got to put a reef
salad,
in, you've got to
ice
help
cream.
with the kid, whatever. Like
I don't have to stand over stirring a risotto, or just do it. So that was kind of a bit of a luxury item for me.
A good purchase.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, this is a Ghost Sun solar oven, and I found out about it on Facebook on other sailors who were using it. It's not specifically designed to be used on a boat, and the company make various different sizes and shapes of them. They're used a lot in America, but a few sailing blogs I'd seen that people were attempting to do it. Most of them when they're in harbour or on the hook rather than while they're sailing. And I was very excited about trying to use it. I got it back when I was still in England, and because there was no sun there to make it work, so it was all a brand new experience when we set off. But basically, you've got this much space in which to cook in, and that's enough vegetables or whatever for the two of us. And I bought 2 of these so you can just keep replacing them. But there's not much that you can't cook in here. Liquid is a bit more awkward in this particular one, but they do also do what they call a little kettle thing. So when you set the oven up in this position, you slot the kettle in and you can boil the water in this way and it's not going anywhere. But most of the time I used it in this position, and you slide this in and you angle it so that these reflectors collect the sun. This is glass, so you do have to take a bit of care, and you have to take a bit of care not to put something cold in when it's hot. I have heard of people who've had problems with explosions, but only very rarely. It's just, I think it's just if it gets, the temperature difference is too much. But I've baked bread in this, and I've made cakes in this. You can get little containers in which you can slot in here, just small enough to put in. So we had things like carrot cake and gingerbread and fresh bread in the mornings, and all the vegetables. We tend to be only vegetarian when we're travelling, so I don't have any meat unless we catch fish, which we like to do. So I tend to put it with beans or lentils or something like that for our protein. But we do have a fridge on board, so I was able to have cheese and add that into the mix as well. And for our crossing, which was 2 weeks crossing from Cape Verde to Recife in Brazil, we did every meal bar one. I cooked, and my watch was from 6, I came back on at 6, and when my husband came up about 8 or 9, he'd take over from me, and I'd start, because the sun was up there, I'd start cooking, and we'd have probably our main meal about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. But I'd done most of the cooking in advance, and then we'd probably just have it cold. But if I wanted it hot, you can put it back in and reheat again in there very quickly. And to cook dried beans and so on, I would put the water in and heat it up in the sun, and then I would drop the beans or whatever in and turn it away from the sun so that it would slow cook during the day, and it worked, and it was really good, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I recommend it to everybody. So to fit it on the boat, because these are the you can turn the arms round to do it at different angles, but to put it on the boat you actually fit an attachment that you can put on the top of a tripod for cameras or whatever, and then you put it onto various parts of the boat that's relevant onto the steel bars, stainless steel bars, and shine it towards the sun. And we mainly had it up on there for this coming up from Brazil, but when we were coming across the Atlantic I had to find more from behind for a while, and then up on the, I can put it up on the grab rails on the deck itself as well. The Atlantic crossing was, after the first sort of 4 days, was quite smooth, so it was easy to use it. The Brazilian crossing was very, very bumpy most of the way, so it was a bit more like hanging on as well as trying to put it up there, so not particularly ideal scenario, but all the vegetables we had, pretty much all of them we managed to cook in there, and again I rarely use the oven down there. Anyway, my oven had a mishap about 5 days out from Brazil, so one of the gimbals broke, so it became pretty difficult to use it anyway, so I was lucky I had this.
Thank you.
This roll of plastic bag that you can then make your own length of bag that you need to fit the food that you want to put in it. You lift it up, put it in across the green strip, put it down, and then you press the heat button, and what that will do is that will seal the bottom part of the bag. So then you make it the size you want, cut the bag, put the food in the bag, put the food that you want to seal in the bag before it's been cut, and then on the open part of the bag you stick in the green slot, and what that does is that catches any food residue when it sucks out. Like if you've got juicy food, when it's sucking out the juices, it falls into this reservoir, then you can put out the reservoir and clean it. So once you've poked the open part of the bag in the green reservoir, you close it, lock the lid, click the seal, like the vacuum seal button, and it sucks all the air out. And yeah, once it sucks all the air out, it will automatically stop. Click the seal button, which then creates a heat seal across the top, so then that's kept all the air out of the seal, and then cut it, and then you've got yourself a bag of sealed food. Rolling?
Rolling.
So you can also buy these sort of like Tupperware tubs, which have, again, like a vacuum seal feature, which you can use this little thing for. You clip it over the top and it seals the air out. But we bought ourselves a little handheld one, just because of convenience. And what you do is you put your food in the tub, put it over the top, press the button, and it sucks all the air out of the pot. And there's a little nipple on there which compress it, which sort of like indents when there's no air in there. And once it indents, then you run it for another 10 seconds. It sucks all the air out, and then you can't open the lid. Literally can't open the lid.
And it's
Rechargeable, and then it keeps biscuits for a long time, doesn't it? Anything nuts. So we've been using that the whole way.
And how do you open the lid then when you want to? Oh, stop it.
Press the button, release